Hi guys, for this video I'd like to talk about the desiring body and also about people that have disorders and disabilities and their desires. As a society, for some reason, sexual desire is something that we don't like to talk about and it's uncomfortable to talk about. We feel vulnerable when people know about our sexual life, our turn-ons, our desires, our wants, and our methods to get them. Some of us feel differently in what we desire, but most of the time it's that most of us want similar things and we're still afraid to talk about it and show it. Love, sex, intimacy, these are all just examples of things that we crave being a human being. Although this is common with many of us, we're still afraid to say it. Originally, sex was just intended for married couples and for the purpose of reproduction. Things have changed quite a bit over the years. For a long time also, in some instances still, women are looked down upon when they show that they do have sexual desire and if they're open about it. In comparison to men, men are praised for their sexual conquests and talk about it all the time with the other guys in the locker room or just on the street. They whistle and holler at girls. When girls do this, they're looked down upon and seen as a slut or too open, and this causes high numbers of slut shaming. Years ago, when women were quiet about it, whether it was because they were shy in the traditionally male-dominating setting or because they didn't know how others would react, it happened, and women are still sometimes targeted for being too open or slutty or whatever because they say that they like sex and they admit it. Nowadays, sex is more open. It's for pleasure. It's for the freedom of a one-night stand. It's for love. Although our society has become a bit more lax when it comes to sex, there are still things that we don't like to talk about when it comes to it. We almost don't want to know what each other's desires are. It's gross or it's too much information, when really it's just a natural human process. Along with the already awkward thought of knowing other people's desires, when other factors come into play, it can become even more awkward. When we think about people with disabilities or visible disorders to us, there is a taboo present. It's almost like people don't think that they also have desires and want sexual relations from time to time, like any of us. Looking at the artwork from the Broadly article, Artists with Developmental Disorders Portray Sexuality, I can relate to the artwork. It's not weird or different, it's how many people feel about sexual relationships. Even though we have the same feelings about it, it's looked upon differently because of who they are. People with developmental disabilities and other disorders often experience sexuality in terms of violence. Many of these people are often targets and victims of horrible sex crimes, along with others like prostitutes, gays, lesbians, all types of people that are often seen within an improper sexual desire by society. People often take advantage of them to get what they want. Not many people consider a disability as a minority group or a part of someone's identity, like race, sex, culture, religion, etc. Sometimes disability even coincides with these other factors of identity. As a medical definition stated by Tobin Siebers in Disability Theory, disability is defined as an individual defect lodged in the person, a defect that must be cured or eliminated if the person is to achieve full capacity as a human being. Now notice the words defect, lodged, cured, eliminated, and achieve full capacity. The medical definition implies that something is very wrong with this person and they're not a full person if it's not cured. It's wrong and discriminatory and just kind of rude. Now, disability studies as a field defines disability as a product of social injustice, one that requires not the cure or elimination of the defective person, but significant changes in the social and built environment. stated by Tobin Siebers in his disability theory. The reason for the inequality and the viewpoint of a disabled person as being an improperly desired body is that most people in our society have the medical definition viewpoint on life and not enough have the social injustice outlook. As I mentioned in my other video about masculine versus feminine, it applies to this too, but we have these strict roles that we have to fit into, and if you can't squeeze into these narrow roles, then it's abnormal and it's odd. Even if you have a mild disability or a mild disorder, you're still grouped in with all of disabled people and all of disordered people, and you're basically told by society that it's wrong for you to desire things. Even if you physically can develop a desire or you physically can have sex, it's still looked upon as weird. When we talk about improperly desiring bodies in the class, some closed-minded people have the outlook on other people with disabilities and disorders that they don't have the right to desire, that they don't deserve it. Talking about this subject makes me think about my sister. My sister is completely deaf in one ear and partially in the other. Yet she's probably one of the strongest people I know. I look up to her because I know, well, I obviously don't know, but I can imagine that what she goes through on a daily basis is really tough, and there are many other disabilities and disorders in the world, and there are many that are worse than hers. So I honestly can't even imagine what those people go through every day. Being deaf is a common disability that many people know of. When I have talked to her previously about it, or she's just mentioned things here and there, the idea of loving or sex isn't weird to her. It's normal for her. If she isn't bothered by it, no one else should be, and no one else really has the right to say that they can't have a desire. She, along with all the other people in the world that have disabilities, deserve what it feels like to have feelings for other people, to have desire, to experience sex. These people are the ones that have to live with it and make decisions based on it, not us. She wants it just as much as anyone else does, yet others find it abnormal. They think that it's not okay, that they're the only ones that have these feelings and desires. People with disabilities and disorders often fear talking about their desires and sexuality because they know how society will react. They will deem it odd and abnormal. An example of what happens when these people fear their expression of their desire and the desire itself in them is a status dilemma. When people have a desire or a want and they can't, or even a role, and they can't fulfill it because of their disability or disorder, they feel as if the purpose is gone. They can't complete it, so there's no point to this role that they want. This compares because if you have a desire and your disability stops you and is in the way of you reaching this desire, you're left unfulfilled. This can also happen when you're the one that wants to be loved or wants to be desired. If your disability is in the way of people wanting you, or just trying to get past the fact that there's a disability or disorder there, that's also a status dilemma. If a woman in a wheelchair wants or desires a tall African American man, and she can't get it, what is she supposed to do? Everyone should feel more open about their desire because we all have it. It's in all of us. Disability studies are expanding, and I believe that it truly will be a good time for these people to shine and show the world that they are human just like the rest of us and that they deserve the same rights. Alright, thanks guys for watching my video. Just remember we're all human beings and we all deserve equal rights and respect.